Hello guys, today we'll be covering a 2011 drama film called Stanley Kadaba. All relevant links and information for the film will be in the pinned comment below, so let's get into it. Stanley Fernandez is an energetic and witty kid of grade 4F at Holy Family High School. He's talented, and with his personality, he's popular among his friends. Stanley is always the first one to arrive in class. He's the favorite student of Miss Rosie, a loving and caring English teacher. He's also liked by most of the teachers in the school, except Verma Sir, a gluttonous Hindi teacher, and Mrs. Iyer, a strict science teacher. The students of grade 4F are busking in class before the bell rings, indicating the start of first period, which is an English class. Miss Rosie notices the unkempt and bruised Stanley and asks for the reason behind his appearance. He gives an elaborate story in a lively manner, entertaining everyone. Stanley is such a good storyteller, and his friends are all entranced by his skill. As the science class begins, Mrs. Iyer asks all the students to choose the topic for their project and asks them to open the chapter on food. When Stanley opens the book but the page was missing, she makes fun of him, saying he's eaten the page. Next, we see Verma Sir in Hindi class. After sniffing the wafting smell of bhatura in the classroom, he could not resist the urge to eat something tasty, so he walks straight to the staff room and searches for the tiffin box in the teacher's unlocked lockers. He sees one bag hanging on the chair. Not only did he go through the bag and finds the tiffin box, but he also sneakily ate some jalebi found inside it. Now it's lunch break time and everyone in the class takes their homemade tiffin box out and starts eating. Stanley, however, is the only one without his tiffin. Thus, his friend offers to share his aloo paratha with him, but Verma Sir forbids him to accept the paratha. Upon asking where his tiffin box is, he says that he has some money and is on his way to buy some vada pav. Next, he goes to drink water to assuage his hunger. In the meantime, the teacher asks the kids to share their lunch with him. After the break, classes continue as usual. After school, while all the other students rush to the local vendors to buy snacks, Stanley is walking away alone. The next day, it's science period, and Mrs. Iyer catches Stanley and Walter, his deskmate, bickering. He's left-handed, whereas his friend is right-handed, so they're having some dispute over the table space. In the end, both of them are sent outside the classroom as punishment. Later, in the Hindi period, the two deskmates are caught fussing again. Verma Sir tells him to write with his right hand instead of his left one, disregarding the fact that he's left-handed. During the break, his friends ask him to take part in a football match after school. Stanley calls his mom to ask for her permission to stay behind for the match with Amon's mobile phone. She allows him to play. During the game, Amon sponsors the lunch for all his friends. The next day, Miss Rosie is praising Stanley's essay in the staff room, but Verma Sir disdains him. Later, Miss Rosie is called by the father, the school principal, to discuss how to proceed with the curriculum as they've lost time due to the swine flu. She suggests completing the course comfortably, stating that missing out a few lessons won't make a huge difference. But other teachers propose extra classes as an option to complete the course on time. At last, 3 periods after tiffin break is decided to be added after Christmas-New Year vacation. It's English period, and Miss Rosie praises Stanley for his essay in front of the whole class. She also informs the class about the extra periods that will start after vacation and advises them to bring lunch for 2 recess breaks accordingly. The school continues as usual, Stanley's storytelling, playing, and sharing tiffins with his friends. Next, we see the Christmas is almost there, and the classroom is decorated with Christmas vibes to it. Stanley creates a lighthouse as a science project and displays it in his classroom. Miss Rosie commends him for his hard work, but while presenting his project in the science class, Mrs. Iyer depreciates his efforts, saying the project does not align with their course of study. She also orders him to throw it out of the class. Then they take a group photo for Christmas before vacation starts. Classes resume after the New Year. All the tiffin boxes are put in front of the classroom, and Verma Sir is lusting his eyes on those tiffin boxes, especially Amon's 4-compartment tiffin box. After the 6th period, the tiffin break starts. Verma Sir immediately rushes to grade 4, but he finds that Amon's lunch has been shared with his friends. He sees Stanley finishing off the tiffin, so he scolds him for not bringing his own box and eating his friend's lunch. From the next day, Stanley does not stay in the classroom to have lunch with his friends. He says to his friends that he needs to go to his house to have warm lunch made by his mother. We then see Verma Sir eating the children's tiffin without any shame, leaving insufficient food for them. Next, Stanley keeps on giving the same reason and excuses himself during the tiffin break, but Abhishek, one of his friends, catches him loitering around the street. Furthermore, he tells it to his other friends. Afterward, his friends ask him why he's been lying to them. In reply, he says that both of his parents have gone to Delhi, so there's no one to cook lunch for him. They all plan to share their lunch with him by remaining hidden from Vermisur's eyes. Now, during the lunch break, Vermisur arrives at the classroom but cannot find a single student. He's furiously searching for the kids. For a few more days, the children keep tricking him with various reasons for changing their place frequently. When he's unable to have the kids' lunch, Rajendra Nath Zutshi, the new history teacher, shared his lunch with him. But one day he catches those children on the rooftop having lunch together. He then scolds Stanley awfully in front of his friends. He even calls him a rodent, leeching on others' lunch. Vermisur feels that he's been made a fool of by a bunch of students. He then warns Stanley if he doesn't have a lunchbox, then he doesn't need to come to school. After that day, Stanley doesn't go to school. His friends start missing him. Though they're angry at Vermisur, they can do nothing about it and just glare at him. Vermisur also starts to notice Stanley missing his classes. The principal informs the teachers about the inter-school concert with the theme A Wonderland Called India going to be held by the Theosophical Society. He tells them to select some students to participate in the program. Stanley's friends feel that Stanley is the most suitable one to take part in the concert, but is missing the opportunity. Hence, they try to reach out to him via his mother's number, which Abhishek has saved previously during the football match. Unfortunately, they couldn't contact him, and they don't know his address as well. Vermisur also somewhat starts feeling guilty towards Stanley. That day, one of Abhishek's friends comes to inform his gang about seeing Stanley just outside the school. They all go to meet him and share the information about the upcoming concert. They even hand him the notice paper and tell him to give it a try. Stanley then visits the Theosophical Colony and sees many children practicing for the concert. He starts visiting the colony, observing the children secretly, and practicing the steps on his own. While practicing on his own, he gets noticed by the concert choreographer. Immediately, he's selected for the inter-school concert. He feels very grateful to his friends and goes to share the news of his selection. Stanley's friends inform Miss Rosie about him getting kicked out of the class by Vermisur for not bringing his own tiffin. She's displeased by Vermisur's behavior towards a little child. She then goes to confront him about the whole issue. Consequently, he loses face in front of other teachers and feels guilty for his wrongdoings. The next day, Stanley comes with his tiffin box and presents it to Vermisur, and he gets embarrassed. As a result, he resigns from his position, leaving behind an apology letter to Stanley. Later, we see Stanley's school life and his concert practice going on smoothly. Next, it's the D-Day for the concert, and Stanley is up on the stage for the opening ceremony. He gives his best for the performance. After the program, Miss Rosie and her husband offer to drop him off, but he politely declines by saying that his mother is right outside waiting in her car. The principal then drops him off at the road intersection. He arrives at the restaurant, but he's welcomed by a tight slap by the owner for missing out on his work. The owner is his uncle. At this point, it's revealed that both of Stanley's parents have passed away and he's working and living in the restaurant. He's frequently physically abused by his own uncle. Stanley is excitedly sharing his happy memories of the event with Akram, his older friend working in the same hotel. Akram starts to save the leftover food from the restaurant for Stanley's tiffin every day without his uncle's knowledge. That night, Stanley lights a candle in front of his parents' photo and prays before going to bed. The next morning, he presents his 4-compartment tiffin in front of his friends and teachers, telling how his mum prepared his tiffin and praises her efforts.